Welcome to the Sports Arena, your front row ticket to the best in sports talk and entertainment. Great analysis, top-name guests, and news you can use from the sports landscape. So, take your seats, sit back, and relax, as you are now in the Sports Arena.
You know what you're capable of. Fix it.
And here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Wins. I'm like, all right, let's go. We get losses. I'm like, I need a minute. Let me collect myself.
Good afternoon. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in on all of our live streams. We are so appreciative that you are here at the Sports Arena. But we're going to go ahead and bring in Jake Rongholt from Turning Point Podcast. How you doing today, Jake? Welcome in. It's Victory Monday for Jake.
Huh?
It's Victory Monday for Jake. He's the only one.
Oh, yeah. It's Victory Monday indeed. Packers are 3-0, took down Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. Twins are not playing the Yankees in the postseason to start it off, so we could play the Astros. And, hey, we got the NBA Finals coming up. So you got to love what's happening right now in the sports world. It's just every single day. And then tonight we got Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals between my Dallas Stars and your Tampa Bay Lightning.
But let's start off with Week 3 of the NFL. I want to go over to the New England Patriots. They are 3-0 after Cam Newton pulled out another win. But, Jake, I got to get your take. He didn't have, that exceptional of a game. He was 17 for 28 with 162 yards. I want to know, is this the Cam that we need to see in New England for them to have a winning season?
You're not always going to have the 2015 Cam Newton with the New England Patriots. This is a team-only football team. They're not about individual performances. They're about stretching the field, scoring the points, and playing good defense. That's what Bill Belichick has always done. Now, I give a lot of credit to Cam Newton for saying, hey, my performance was subpar. That's fine, Cam, but you still won the game 36-20. Your defense still kept the Raiders on their tiptoes. And not to mention, your running game came to life with Sony Michel, who had an unbelievable day with over 117 yards and only 9 carries. Rex Burke had 3 total touchdowns on the day. There should be nothing subpar right now about the New England Patriots. That's why they are going to be the team to beat in the AFC East if this continues up. Like I said, Cam, got to understand, love you on that team, but understand, this is not the Carolina Panthers anymore. This is Bill Belichick's team.
Yeah, speaking of the Bills, they had a comeback win against the Rams. Jake, I want to know your take. Do you think the Buffalo Bills are really going to be able to take this division from Bill Belichick and the Patriots?
If they're going to do that, they have to fix what's happening on defense. I know Star Lotulelei is out right now, but that's no excuse. You can't give up over 167 yards to a team that you had 28-3 deficit at this point. You cannot do that. And then you let 29 unanswered points come back. And it's a good thing that this happened in Week 3 and not Week 12, because then you could have been saying that the Patriots were the ones winning the AFC East. But look, I love the Bills. Josh Allen has done incredible. I like his offseason program. Peter King had a great piece today about what Josh Allen did in the offseason. He got trained by Tony Romo and quarterback guru Jordan Palmer. Not to mention, he had numerous Zoom meetings with Brian DeBall and his quarterback coach Ken Dorsey from the U, who has a national championship to his credit. So I love what I'm seeing out of Josh Allen. I like what I'm seeing out of Gabe Davis, the rookie out of UCF. Saw this kid at East Carolina last year fighting against them, and he looked excellent. Raw talent, needed to get used to the program, but I was interested to see if he was going to be there on Sundays. Tight end Tyler Kroft, way to come in, get 2 touchdowns off the injured Dawson Knox. That's good, because now the Bills are showing we have a depth chart. We have a lot of depth on this football team. You just have to shore up that defense. Once they do that, the Bills are going to be a tough out. Everybody needs to settle down on the LA Rams. Look, they're a nice story to start off the year, but I still do not believe that this is one of the best teams in the NFL. I actually figure that this might be a team that might finish second or third in the NFC West, because there is just a lot of issues with them. They're still getting used to this new defense led by Brandon Staley. And then outside of Aaron Donald, can you name me somebody that can make a play? The linebackers had problems yesterday. They were not able to get a strong pass rush. Outside of Aaron Donald, that was about it. Otherwise, Josh Allen was like, okay, that's all you got? All right, bring it on. I'm going to go full-on Brett Favre on you. and got 4 touchdown passes on Sean McVay. So just keep an eye on, the Cardinals and the 49ers, even though they had their JV squad out there against the Giants.
Seriously.
The Rams, I'm still not buying them yet.
No, yeah, I am right there with you, Jake. I am not sold on Jared Goff. We'll be switching over to the NFC North with the undefeated Chicago Bears. They're 3-0.
Yeah.
Didn't even feel right coming So I got to know your take. So Matt Nagy has named Nick Foles the starting quarterback going into week 4. He came into the game after the Bears were down, and I want to know your take. Is Nick Foles the answer for the Chicago Bears? Go ahead, Jake.
For now, he is, yes. Okay, I understand they got Mitchell Trubisky, but, he's a second overall pick. They gave him an opportunity, every chance that they possibly could, but Mitchell Trubisky had one good quarter out of the last 3 games. They had no choice. They had to go to Nick Foles. This defense already gave 26 points to the Atlanta Falcons. They needed a spark, and Nick Foles was able to do that. 3 touchdown passes, 188 yards, and 1 interception. But let's remind ourselves, there's a reason why everybody calls him Foles Magic, because sometimes he just runs out of it. It becomes like a twist out of one of those Now You Can See Me movies instead of more like The Prestige. So let's just be honest here. It's good to see the Nick Foles for now, but don't be surprised if the Bears go back to Mitchell Trubisky, even though he has not looked good. They don't have anybody else, so they're going to have to just ride the train with Nick Foles until further notice.
So Mitchell Trubisky completed 59% of his passes in the first 3 weeks with 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in his first 3 appearances.
Hold on.
Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ruth, for having me on. I appreciate it. Jake, there's no way I'm going to let you speak about Nick Foles and not have something to say about this. See, I think this is coming from a place of, I think you don't want to see Nick Foles because you're a Green Bay guy, and now that Nick Foles has taken over for the Chicago Bears, I think you're a little scared right now. That's just my personal opinion. Green Bay and Chicago, as we know, probably one of the best rivalries in the world of sports.
Yep.
And we know that at times Nick Foles always plays to the level of competition. So I am just saying that I don't think Jake's coming from a place of, I think he's coming more from the heart than he is from the head. That is just my opinion on that. But I am just as shocked that Nick Foles is officially in. How quickly we went from Mitchell Trubisky bringing the team back to win week 1, having a decent game, if you will, week 2. But the second he slips, it was like, that's it, you're done. We're moving on to Nick Foles.
Yeah,
but Eric, what did I say to you and Ruth when we were on before the season started? And I said that I can't believe they named Trubisky the starter. I said to you guys, and I fully believed it, it was going to be the shortest leash ever. Now, when they got down to the Lions, I thought he was going to get benched in the fourth quarter. I thought he'd be done. He brings him back. Okay, I'm like, maybe he's got that. Maybe Nick Foles lit that fire for him. But I figured it would be the shortest leash ever, and I said week 3. But there is no way that I thought Trubisky would be benched at least until after the game. Matt Nagy's feeling the heat of his job, and yeah, Jake. Eric, everything you said, you are a genius. I have to compliment you. You know you're a genius because everything you said, I was gonna tease Jake and say, Jake, come on now. You're just talking as a Packers fan. No.
Nick Foles, not talking like a Packers fan. I'm actually welcoming that. I would like to welcome that because honestly, one of the best Super Bowls I ever watched was Nick Foles against Tom Brady. I mean, and also mark your calendars. In 2 weeks, we get that rematch between Tom Brady and Nick Foles on Thursday Night Football, and I am already ready and willing to watch that. So this has nothing to do with the Packers. Packers and Bears are always close. It's always a slobber knocker. It's always going to be that way.
That was a great segue into my next topic. So the Bucs are 2-1 after Sunday's win against the Denver Broncos, 28-10. Jake, so I'm going to swing it back to you. Are you convinced that this is Brady's comeback year?
Brady needed this, and I understand it's against the injury-plagued Broncos, but sometimes you have to play a bad team in order to be able to move on to the next game, especially when you're going to be playing the Bears in a couple of weeks. So this was a good game for him. He only got sacked twice. He had 115.8 quarterback rating. I don't want to hear this about Gronkowski. I still don't think he's back yet, but I really do like the chemistry that he's building with Mike Evans. But now Chris Godwin is now having an MRI today to see how long he's going to be out with that hamstring injury. So it's going to be interesting to see if he starts to turn Scotty Miller into the next Julian Edelman type, or if they're going to try to be able to rely on that running game. That running game was kind of lost in neutral against the Denver Broncos, and I know it's Jeff Driscoll and some undrafted kid out of Boise State with Brett Rippon, but my goodness, they needed something like this, and they showed it off beautifully. Also, outside of Tom Brady, the Buccaneers are playing amazing defense.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like they are definitely one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL as of right. So we're going to be talking about the Washington football team and the Cleveland Browns as they faced off in week 3, and the Cleveland Browns pulled off a win 34-20. But let's take a moment to congratulate the fact that we had 3 women involved in the NFL. We had Callie Bronson with the Browns, who is the chief of staff. We have Jennifer King, and then we have the ref, Sarah Thompson, that were all together in yesterday's game. Eric, I'm going to start with you first. What does this mean about women taking over the league right now?
I mean, for 101 years, we had never seen this. So this is something that needs to be behold and needs to be honored because, this is the first time. These women are pioneers who are going out and trend setting for future generations. And for so long, it's always been the boys club, the boys club. Well, now you have not only women, but just coaches and referees who are on the same level as their male counterparts. Now, we don't know what their pay is, and I don't even want to get into that. Before this moment, these 3 women need to be honored and respected and even recognized for not only their contribution to their individual teams and to the league, but just to the NFL as a whole.
Well, Eric, and the cool thing, too, that I learned about when you sent this out this morning, because when I saw it yesterday, when I saw the picture, I'm like, man, that's awesome. But both Brownson and King got their starts in college-wise, both at Dartmouth.
Oh,
and they both at the college level, they've both done different things there coaching-wise. And Brownson played. She played for the DC Divas of the women's football league for 7 years. And again, I bring it back, and everybody always thinks I was making fun of it, but I'm not, because it was a pioneering movie way back when. And if you haven't seen it, check Wildcats with Goldie Hawn. Wesley Snipes, Goldie Hawn. It was just, I know it's a comedy, but it's true. Just because somebody loves a sport and they're not of that sex. I've always said, even since I was younger, how come it was always just acceptable for men to coach, let's just say women's basketball or any woman's sport. But if a woman was coaching a man's sport, it's she can't do it. She hasn't played, especially in basketball. So it's like, I never understood that. So yeah, it was just awesome to see that yesterday. Absolutely awesome.
Jake, can I get your input?
It was refreshing to see, especially after the sickness that I saw with Jason Whitlock and Outkick the Coverage did last week, ripping on every single reporter, analyst, anchor possible in sportscasting. And it was actually good to see that this was actually carrying on into the NFL. Alex Flanagan had such a great piece that was trying to pretty much combat what Jason Whitlock was saying about how beauty is all about. That's how they get the jobs in the business and all this kind of stuff. It is great to see that it is not about that. It is about your work ethic. And when you saw those 3 women, you know that they went through what a guy goes through here. If a man can do it, why can't a woman do it? And they proved it yesterday. You got this amazing picture. You got it for the Washington football team. You have it for Cleveland, and then you have Sarah Thomas as a referee. Not to mention, the vice president of media and communication with the Washington football team is a woman, Julie Donaldson, and she has been in this business for almost 20-plus years. So this was an amazing thing to see, and it was a breath of fresh air after what I read last week.
Yes, and I will take a moment to honor these 3 women for, being the world's changing. It's 2020. It's a new evolution. So it's awesome and refreshing to see that these women are taking such a strong stand in a male-dominated league. So it's a beautiful thing to see. But something that wasn't so beautiful was, I can't believe I'm saying this, the Washington football team are first in the NFC East after the Eagles tied up against Joe Burrow and Cincinnati. Jake Rongholt, I want to know your take.
The Eagles are not going to bench Carson Wentz. It's not his fault that the way the team is right now. I mean, Jason Peters just got hurt once again. This is a guy that got a 1-year, $8 million contract just to move from guard to left tackle, and now they got that problem. The depth is such a problem right now at offensive line. And then I got a question for the secondary. Who wants to play secondary in the city of Philadelphia? Because Avonte Maddox is hurt now. And Darius Slay is a good corner, but he's not an elite corner. So I kind of feel like that's the problem. I understand you want to put some blame on Carson Wentz. That's fine. But you can also put it on the coach, and you have to put it on the general manager, Howie Roseman, because once again, he continues to show that he is not rebuilding this wide receiver core correctly or this offensive line. There's no depth with this offensive line, and that is a problem. If you have a bad offensive line in the National Football League, you can have the greatest quarterback in NFL history, or you can end up like Archie Manning, always on his butt every time he gets the football. Very good player, never had a good offensive line, and that is what is happening right now with Philadelphia and Carson Wentz. The confidence is just not there.
No, I think it's still way too soon. It's only week 3. We're going into week 4. The Dallas Cowboys lost in Seattle. So, Jake Rongholt, I want to know your take on the Dallas Cowboys. Is Dak the future?
First off, I told you guys about Mike McCarthy. You got to be careful with that one-dimensional. He loves that air game, and he proved it once again. I mean, my goodness, 57 passes just to try and catch up with Russell Wilson. I mean, look at the numbers. The numbers are incredible, all right? And that's exactly what McCarthy did in Green Bay. 25 receptions, 396 yards, 3 touchdowns between Michael Gallup, Cedric Wilson, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. How do you not win that game? Because your defense. How is Everson Griffin not getting any pass rush? Why is DeMarcus Lawrence, the $120 million man, not getting any coverage on this? What is going on here? I know Leighton Vander Esch is out. I know Sean Lee is out. But I am just blown away by this secondary. How is Tyler Lockett wide open off the left side of the end zone for one of Wilson's 5 touchdown passes? It doesn't matter. You could score 50 points in this game if you're giving up more. And that is exactly what happened. Not to mention Dak Prescott, while his numbers are impressive, he is making mistakes at the wrong time. Interception to Shaquille Griffin, taking a sack in a 2-minute drill when they had 1 timeout remaining, and then you're down to 6 seconds. The game is over. You have no chance of winning this game now, and then you throw it up a la Trent Dilfer into the end zone for your second interception. It's not just Dak Prescott that's the problem. It is the defense. It's the one-sidedness. I mean, look at this. 14 rushes, 34 yards for Ezekiel Elliott. He did nothing. He looked like he didn't want to come into the game until the 3rd quarter when he actually made a big play. And when he got a first down, you didn't see him saying the Feed the Beast dance or the celebration. He just picked up the ball and walked back to the sideline. That's crazy to me.
So Breeze was 29 for 36, 288 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. And people are trying to say that his arm wasn't looking the same. So, Jake, I want to know your take on Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints.
I know Chris Sims brought this up today on Pro Football Talk that, Drew Brees did not throw a ball over 20 yards all night. I get that. Alvin Kamara was the reason why they were in this game, but Drew Brees was still slinging it. He still felt like him. He needs Michael Thomas. That's his number 1 guy. And when you don't have that number 1 guy and your Deontay Harris is not helping you out, Traquan Smith is not helping you out, you let Ted Ginn Jr. go to the Chicago Bears, Drew Brees is out of options outside of Alvin Kamara. Kamara almost single-handedly beat the Green Bay Packers yesterday. If it wasn't for that fumble by Taysom Hill, we would not be talking about that. We would be talking about Drew Brees being back. Drew Brees is still an amazing quarterback. When you have the numbers that he did yesterday and was still able to keep the team in it, remind yourself, they scored 30 points. How many points did the Packers score? 37. The biggest problem with the Saints continues to be that undisciplined defense that showed up last year and showed up again this year. 8 penalties, 69 yards, back-to-back pass interference calls. You get psyched on 2 hard counts by Aaron Rodgers. On the second one, not to mention, you got neutral zone infraction, then you got a 15-yard pass interference call, and you just gave the Packers the game just like that. It's not Drew Brees that's the problem. He needs Michael Thomas back. Once they get him back, he'll be fine. It's that defense that I feel like is not going to get the Saints to the Super Bowl.
And you did mention Aaron Rodgers. So, Jake, I'm going to let you take the reins on this. How do you think Aaron Rodgers is reacting and how he's playing in the first 3 weeks? And does it have anything to do with maybe having a second string quarterback kind of nagging at his heels?
That's one of the things, but that's not the main fact. The main fact is what Chris Collinsworth brought up yesterday on Sunday Night Football. Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers found a way to build their relationship, even regardless of this draft pick of Jordan Love. Understand, Aaron Rodgers knows what it's like to be the young gun waiting for the old gun to retire with Brett Favre. Now, Aaron Rodgers is playing the same role as that young gun Jordan Love is waiting for his shot. It's not that at all. He needs to build that relationship with Matt LaFleur, and that's exactly what he did. They had meetings where they were taking out plays that did not work last year, and they decided to create new plays. Under the second year under Matt LaFleur, there's a lot of trust between that coach and quarterback relationship. Not to mention, I love it how all the echo chambers were closed today because the Packers had a second receiver out there named Alan Lazard that comes out of nowhere and makes himself a household name on national television. And once again, I just got to say it. The only reason that the Packers cannot get to the Super Bowl is that flippin', bend, and break deep. That Alvin Kamara thing, I almost lost my mind. I don't know what Jair Alexander is trying to do an impression of Chuck Bednarik's shoulder shiver, but that was one of the worst things I ever saw out of a defense with the Packers. And that's going to be the big flaw there. Even though Aaron Rodgers is stellar, the wide receivers are good. Aaron Jones, love this offense. That defense got a lot of work.
We are going to finish it up with the NFL, and we're going to switch things over to the NBA bubble. So we have the Boston Celtics having their bubble burst in Game 6 against the Miami Heat. And Miami Heat are going to be matching up with the LA Lakers for the NBA Finals. And we're going to take it over to Jake. I want to know your take on the Miami Heat matchup against the Los Angeles Lakers.
The best team that played like a team was the Miami Heat. And that's why I took them as my dark horse this year, because it doesn't matter who gets the basketball at the end of the day. Look at what happened with the Celtics. They had Jason Tatum out there for 44 minutes, Jaylen Brown 40 minutes, and all they could do is get 24 points and 20 points. That's not going to help you win games. Their bench work was not very good with 23 points. You can't run your starters into the ground. The Miami Heat do not do that. They average between 28 to 32 minutes a game. Guaranteed, because they have trust in Andre Iguodala and Tyler Hero, who had 34 points combined off the bench in that Game 6. A terrific performance. Bam Adebayo, nicely done with 32 points, but keep this in mind. It's either going to be Lakers at 5 or Heat in 7, because I can't wait for the fourth quarter, because that's when Jimmy Buckets comes to life. And if the Lakers cannot stop Jimmy Butler, or if the Heat have like a 10-point lead and the Lakers have to play catch-up, it's going to be a problem, because after the Celtics took a 100-98 lead, the Heat outscored them 16-2. This is going to be a great finals. I can't wait to watch.
Yeah,
Jake,
I mean,
you
it
just
was a
changed
little
my mind for me.